Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching Game 4 of a best of 5 human mirror matchup for Tournament of the Sun, which is a Russian Cup that was played yesterday on Sunday with a 5,000 rubles prize split between the top 3 players, which was, I think, first player won like 2,500 rubles, second player won 1,500, and third player won 500, I believe. Now, all in all, 5,000 rubles is about 160 euros, 170 euros, about 130 USD. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if they're going to do another TOTS. It's TOTS Tournament of the Sun. I don't know if they're going to do more of those in the future or not, but it's produced some pretty good games so far, and so hopefully you guys are going to enjoy them. If you haven't checked them out, this is, like I said, the 4th game. So they're all 5 games will be in this up on the channel today. So you can just check those out pretty much in order if you'd like. And of course, we're going to see Yumiko now spawning in as our teal human in the upper left. This is going to be Terran stand, and he will be going up against Inquisitive HawK, spawning in as the orange human down in the lower right. So, we're going to see, once again, HawK getting that early scout tower. That's something he likes to do. And he's going with that Archmage first as well as a footman. Of course, we're going to see a scout footman coming in from both players as they try to run those guys across the map. And we're going to see an Archmage coming in for Yumiko as well. And this time, we're actually going to see Yumiko going for an early tower, which is something we haven't seen so far in this series. I'm not quite sure what's changed his mind and made him decide to do that, or for what reason he's doing that. But hey, so yeah, he's doing it. And so, maybe he's thinking Yumiko might go for a more aggressive play this game, and he wants to have that up early, so that might be what it is. Meanwhile, of course, down here we can see that Yumiko and HawK are both going to creep out their Goblin Laboratories. As you can see right here, we're looking at HawK creeping out his, and now we're going to see up here that Yumiko is going to creep out his. Now, this is a map where you can easily get level 3 very quickly. Your creep pattern pretty much is Goblin Laboratory, this green, this shop, this orange, and then this green. That'll give you level 3 pretty much every time. You can mix it up a little bit, different ways you can do it. You can also creep out. Some of these greens are really easy. This one's really easy. Let's see. I thought I paused, but it didn't. Okay. Yeah, so this one's a really easy camp to creep out. You can just send a couple militia down here if you want to creep that one out. Of course, they do have frost armor, so it's a little bit longer to creep them, but they don't have a lot of life, so they don't do a lot of damage. It's pretty easy to creep it. And so sometimes you'll see players, you don't really see this as much anymore, but there was a while where you would just see players going mad insane, and they were just in like units like 4 or 5 different creep camps, and they would just creep them all at the same time. That didn't happen very much, and I'm not sure how many times we saw human players do it. We saw it occasionally, sometimes on like Turtle Rock, they would go to like 2 or 3 different camps at the same time. And again, like I said, it's not something you see quite as much anymore. I don't really know why not, but we don't. It's a little bit risky when you do it, I guess. But anyway, we're gonna see HawK coming over here. The creep pattern that I said was obviously for undead, apparently, not for human players. I don't know what I was thinking there. Of course, they're gonna go for the mercenary camp. That makes a lot more sense. Why not? You can, they can easily do it. Too, it's a creep camp that you don't want to creep in the middle game too much, because the risk of being jack's pretty high. We're actually gonna see HawK now picking up a potion of invulnerability right there, because it's pretty high though, because there's like 4 guys that cast slow and there's a guy that casts stun. Of course, also you went to mercenary camps. You want the mercenaries themselves, you want to build a farm, etc., and that's what we're going to see both players doing. And actually, both players can pick up a potion of invulnerability. That's 15 seconds of invulnerability. Great. And of course, both players scouting out that that's what was happening on both sides of the map. And also, more importantly than that, HawK would have been very happy to come over here and pick up the mercenaries that we just saw Yumiko buying. So he's gonna be able to he's not gonna be able to do that this time around, and maybe he's even gonna lose this footman because he's running back in. I think he didn't, because he didn't see these mercenaries when he backed off, and indeed he's gonna lose that footman. And will it go down to creeps or will it go down to the Archmage? It's gonna go down to creeps. Very, very close though, and both players very close to level 3. HawK gonna pick up level 3 over here while he creeps out this Goblin Merchant, bringing in, of course, those militia. And let's see who is teching. Keep at HawK's, yes, and Yumiko with a much faster tech this time around, way faster. As you can see, he's almost done. He's about 2/3 of the way done, and HawK is just now barely into beginning this tech. So there you have that. Of course, you can see HawK does have that arcane tower. I'm going to go ahead and throw down a second and a third scout tower right there. And Yumiko has 1 arcane tower about to finish. And we'll see if he's deciding to throw down a second and a third one there or not. Of course, he's going to pull this creep camp out. It doesn't look like he's going to use militia to actually creep out this shop right here, which is what we saw HawK doing. So HawK's gonna come up here and maybe try to get a creep jack. Probably not necessarily a creep jack, more like he wants to come up here and he wants to do some damage. However, Yumiko is pretty much prepared for that. I don't know how, but he is. He kind of knows. He just knows these things. Of course, it's probably like a timing or something like that. And yeah, that's what we're going to see. And there you go, pretty much that. Of course, HawK's actually going to back off at this point. He does have a footman over here. Mainly, I think, to pick up the mercenaries probably as soon as they come off cooldown. Yumiko is probably like, I'm not going to let him do that, but you never know if that's going to happen or not. And, of course, we're going to see now Yumiko has to make a decision. Does he come over here and try to stop this footman? Looks like that's going to be his goal, while keeping his army right here and scouting with the scout footman. This scout footman might be goal designed to come over to this mercenary camp. Who knows? Of course, since he's going to be able to stop this footman, he might not be able to kill it, but he should be able to get the force just to run away and leave that farm alone. And of course, we're going to see a panda actually being picked up as Yumiko's second hero. So finally, a little bit of a difference in the matchup from what we've seen. And of course, this is going to be two reasons that you can give the panda second. But one is pretty much because he knows he has a much faster tech. So if you have a much faster tech, you can get that second hero out immediately, and you can try to make yourself have some map control from that. Of course, we also see defend for Yumiko. We don't see that for HawK. And so it looks like Yumiko wants to have some pretty aggressive play. If you go with the panda, if you go with defend, you're generally trying to play pretty aggressively at that point. And of course, we're going to see HawK now chasing down this panda. I don't think it's going to die. He does have a boots of speed. Of course, he's trying to get 2 arcane sanctums up. He doesn't have a shop up, though, anywhere on the map. So that could potentially be a bit of an issue. And we can just see that HawK is going to maybe be able to actually kill the panda right now. He's going to chase it. And there is a boots of speed. Oh, he's going to get the deny. Yumiko denies the panda. Indeed, really well done right there. HawK not getting the experience for that panda is going to be very good, really, really good. And of course, you know, Alter Revive it for basically at that point, if you can deny, it's 170 gold to, you know, get your hero healed all the way up. It's not that bad. You know, it's the cost of a scroll of regeneration and a clarity, so it's really not a big deal as long as you're not giving experience for that, and it's level 1. Level 2 starts to get a little bit debatable, but you know, you don't really want to lose it at that point. But losing level 1 hero is not the worst thing ever. Of course, so we do have this Yumiko's footman down here just saying, what can I do? Of course, we're going to see HawK going straight to tier 3. Well, I'll say straight to tier 3. He actually went ahead and bought a Mountain King for a little bit ago. But then, you know, before he decided to put on other buildings, he was like, let's just go straight to tier 3. And of course, Yumiko, and that's a pretty good response because, you know, when you see the panda second, you're like, okay, well, if I stay at tier 2, what's going to happen is 2 things. One, I'm going to have a bunch of priests, and the panda's just going to be able to, like, spill beer all over them and set them on fire, and it's not going to be very happy, and we're in 3rd degree burns aren't fun, and so he's like, I don't want to deal with that. Secondly, he also saw that Yumiko was sitting at tier 2, so Yumiko is going for a very big tier 2 type thing. You know, the breaker priest, just like we saw before. However, it looks like no breakers actually because there wasn't a shop, so more like casters. So we have a source just out. We have priests out, and that's what we're seeing. And finally, an arcane vault going up for Yumiko, so we're probably going to see some breakers, but the point is pretty much that, you know, he's like, well, if he's going to be tier 2, if I can manage to get to tier 3 really fast, and then go for tier 3 units, I should be able to win the game pretty easily. And indeed, we're going to see HawK now throwing down a arcane sanctum right there, indeed. And of course, he does have these 2 guard towers turning into guard towers instead of arcane towers, and there's a blacksmith right there, and both players of course keeping up their gold mine. Of course, Yumiko is trying really hard to get to level 3 on this panda, and will I sneeze? Elephants. No, I won't sneeze. Well, no, I won't sneeze. Okay, so the panda is getting pretty close to level 3. There is level 3, no problem. Meanwhile, of course, that Mountain King is level 2. He's also trying to get to level 3, but it's going to take a little bit longer because he's now creeping out greens instead of oranges, which is, it's doable. But anyway, Yumiko is saying, I think I'm going to go for an expansion because, you know, he's like, I got the tier 2 to defend it. He did scout that HawK was going for tier 3, so he's saying, I know I can probably get this expansion up, but that doesn't mean he's going to go for it. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for it. Maybe not. He's just going to maybe put down a tower right there, and maybe that's all he's going to keep, just to have a tower there. That could also be what he's doing. That looks like what he's doing. I don't know why. I have no idea why he's doing that. But that's what he's going to do, so there you have it. And we're just going to see Yumiko now coming down here to HawK, doing some damage to the Archmage. And isn't a level 3 Mountain King yet? Not quite. Still not quite. If you're able to creep out this green camp as well, then he would be a level 3 Mountain King. But of course, whatever. It's not going to happen. HawK will go for a Paladin 3rd and get a Mortar Team out. He says, I could use a Mortar Team. Also going to get some Priests out with some Dispel. If you can use that, of course, then we're going to see a lot of damage coming in from that Breath of Fire from that Panda. As you can see, just obliteration. Of course, we're also going to see a bolt, storm bolt being cast onto the panda because he's saying, well, I don't want your panda to just get a bunch of free breaths of fire onto my units because you'll end up killing them, and I'd prefer you to not do that. And that arcane tower going to be fairly useful right there, actually. And he's going to be able to cast a reveal. I'm not sure where he's revealing. Down here, indeed. Just to see HawK's not going for an expansion. So he's like, oh, HawK's going to go for a big thing. Now here we can see maybe moving some of these guys out, these peasants. So maybe he will go for the expansion after all. Maybe he just wanted to wait and make sure that he could do so safely. Of course, over here we're going to see now Malking still trying to pick up level 3, so he's going to creep out this green camp with the Archmage right there, just creep it out as fast as he can, and he's going to take a lot of damage right now on that Malking as well as the Archmage as well. He's going to cast a Stormbolt onto the Murloc creep just to make sure he gets it because he wants it really badly. And also, he's going to be able to walk away pretty much because he does have boots of speed on that Malking. It's a pretty fast Malking. You will lose a Water Elemental at the same time, but yeah, it's not a huge deal. And that's going to be level 4, however, picked up by the Archmage. And of course, we're going to see this Buttworker right here trying to do some damage. Of course, this Malking actually getting very low. He's going to get Holy Lighted by the Paladin. That's actually going to keep him in the game, or in the fight. And of course, one more Breath of Fire would do a lot of damage. Now with a Panda, however, a Panda is not bad versus mortar teams. As you can see, mortar teams are definitely vulnerable to Breath of Fire, so you can deal with that. Of course, also with a slow on your knights, it's going to be really difficult to deal with too. And yeah, so here we can see a bunch of militia as well. I mean, Panda is pretty good versus all of the units that HawK's making. However, that doesn't mean HawK's going to lose them all. However, there's also a Blizzard on the field now. Blizzard and Breath of Fire doing loads of damage. Of course, we're going to see Yumiko's Archmage going to be forced to pop that potion of invulnerability right there. So he's got 15 seconds of invulnerability. You're going to see one more Breath of Fire taking out a load of units. Will we see a Water Elemental has now been summoned, going to take down another one of those little guys. And of course, we're going to see that Knight getting another Holy Light. Of course, that Malking is going to be able to go ahead and cast a pretty nasty Thunderclap right there and force a TP on Yumiko. And Yumiko saying, all right, well, that was very interesting, but I did get my expansion up at the same time. So he's like, I'm not too mad about it. We can see Yumiko sitting at 40 food and HawK sitting at 42 food, and of course Yumiko has an expansion up and they have about the same economy other than that. So I would say Yumiko is sitting in a pretty good spot right now. His only potential issue is that he's 4-3 and he doesn't have a third hero versus a 4-3 1, and so that could be an issue. Of course, he's also tier 2 versus tier 3. We can see the knights and such are upgraded to 1-0, and Yumiko doesn't have any upgrades at all either. So there you have it. Of course, we're going to see that scroll of regeneration being canceled right off the Panda by the Archmage right up here. Of course, he's keeping that Cloak of Shadows because why not? He's actually got one on both the Mountain King and the Archmage, and that might come in handy. You know, maybe not, but it might. And of course, these mortar teams in the back, they're just going to end up taking a bit of damage, but they're going to be able to heal it up through it, no problem, and just back off a little bit. Of course, we're also going to see that Panda now taking a Stormbolt as well, and another, it's a Thunderclap that's going to do some damage to Yumiko's Ogre Mauler, and I think that was a Sorceress that actually took some damage there. Of course, we're going to see HawK's Mountain King taking a lot of damage as well, so this Mountain King might be in a little bit of trouble. I'm sorry, the Paladin right here. Paladin might be in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like he's going to be okay. He's just going to walk away. Just have a potion of invulnerability, as well as some pass from, I think, maybe from that Archmage. Indeed, yeah, from the Archmage. Of course, we're going to see another Breath of Fire. The Breath of Fire is slowly going to overwhelm, you know, HawK's units here. But again, I don't know how much quite. Of course, that Paladin gonna be forced to pop that potion of vulnerability right there. Of course, gonna see one of these knights almost certainly gonna go down unless he gets a Holy Light. However, there's not enough mana for that. And of course, we're seeing that Mountain King running away from this, or I'm sorry, the Panda running away from this Mountain King. However, that Mountain King doesn't have enough mana for a Stormbolt anyway, so it's not a huge deal. Also, this Paladin could potentially end up in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't pass that Scroll of Town Portal over to him. Of course, we're gonna see a Breath of Fire. Oh, the Paladin's gonna go down! The Paladin goes down! Level 4 Panda being picked up right there. As you can see, I mean, that Archmage was so close to being able to pass that Town Portal over to the Paladin, TPing out of there if he wanted to keep him alive. However, he may not have wanted to, but he also had his staff, so he could have staffed him out as well. But really close for Yumiko. Of course, now we can see that the Mountain King's in a little bit of trouble. We're going to see the Arcane Reveal coming in from Yumiko, and he's going to be able to take that Mountain King down as soon as we saw HawK trying to get that pass on that teleport scroll over to that Mountain King. So unfortunately there for HawK, HawK is now in a bad spot. As you can see, HawK is going to about have to be versed a level 5 Archmage. You can see as soon as that Priest goes down right there, that's going to pick up level 5 on the Archmage. There it is, level 5, and this HawK's Archmage is going to be forced to Town Portal out of this situation. Yeah. However, he will bait a one final Breath of Fire from Yumiko's Panda, so that's not too bad. And again, all the while, Yumiko has this expansion running. However, it only has 2 peasants mining gold from it, which is a little bit odd. Little bit too odd. I would probably not do that if I was Yumiko. Probably not. No. That's not really the ideal situation. Of course, you can see Yumiko. He's gonna take out this farm. Says, you know what? Screw it. That's a farm that you're not gonna have. And he's like, I'm just gonna kill it because whatever. And of course, down here, of course, HawK is trying his best to rebuild. We can see he's managed to get that Paladin back out. However, now he has to alter revive a level 3 Mountain King, which is gonna take a while. And in the meantime, we're just going to see Yumiko saying, I got a level 5 Archmage, I got a level 4 Panda. I'm just going to take this fight straight to your base, and your militia aren't going to do anything because I got a level 4 Panda. Seriously, your militia aren't going to do anything. I do think it's a little bit odd that he's got the Sobi on the Archmage and not the Panda, but I guess he just thinks, you know, that the Water Elementals are worth more, and I suppose they probably are for the most part, since there's really not a lot of dispel on HawK's side. So, of course, we're seeing him trying to micro those guys, those priests and those counters, the casters away from that mortar team. And we're going to see that Knight actually getting TV'd out or staffed out at 48 HP. And now we're just going to see Yumiko backing off. So HawK not out of the game yet. HawK saying, you know what? I don't know what's going on over at your expansion, but you don't have a lot of food. You don't have nearly as much as I was expecting you to. And so he's like, I'm just sitting here banking, and I'm going to push you back out without having to use militia. Because, of course, if I use militia, your Panda would just like be like, oh, some food. And that would not be what he wants. So that's not what we're going to see. Yeah, and these mortar teams are actually doing a pretty good job of forcing these guys away. As you can see, these casters taking a ton of damage. Yumiko does not have any scrolls of healing yet to really do anything about that. He's going to have to run those casters away, then maybe try to turn around and do a little bit of damage to those mortar teams. But as it's going to turn out, nothing too much. Of course, we're going to see Yumiko running away a water elemental all the way across here, just trying to draw the fire, draw the attention of HawK, saying, I need time to heal up, so let's get those guys out of the way. And indeed, that's what we're seeing happen here. Now, with this number of mortar teams out on the field, that is 3 mortar teams with fragmentation shards, with a 4th one on the way. If Yumiko can't deal with those pretty much immediately, he's not going to be able to take this fight. He's not going to be able to win a fight. Even if he has more supply, because a lot of that supply is actually right there in, you know, casters who take a lot of damage, and these priests and these sorceresses, they take a lot of damage from those mortar teams. So that's kind of a big issue. I mean, that's a huge issue actually for him. I mean, if HawK is sitting over here saying, okay, well, HawK's just going to creep out. He's saying, I got level 5 Archmage, just going to keep it here because I need to just creep. And he's got a level 2 Paladin. It's about to level 3, in fact. I don't know how they got that high, but there you go, level 3 Paladin. The hero levels in the mortar teams alone might actually be able to make HawK win this game, despite the fact that he's definitely been behind in this game for a while. So maybe we're just going to see that tech advantage. Of course, here we're going to see a couple of invisibilities being cast right there by Yumiko, once on the Panda, once on the water elemental right there, and once on this water elemental. His goal here is just to go ahead and try to get these mortar teams killed as quickly as possible. Pop this guy out with a haste fire on these things. Here it comes right there, and of course use these mortar teams as well, and pop a potion of invulnerability on that Panda to try to keep him from dying right now. And will he end up in a little bit of trouble here? He might actually end up surrounded. If he does end up surrounded, he's in trouble. Oh, the Panda's in a bad spot right now. The Panda's in a bad spot. The Panda trying to get out of a bad spot. Will we see? There it is. The Panda's got to go ahead and take a storm boat. Will he pop that scroll of healing? He's going to have to. Will he live, though? Oh, the Panda goes down. The Panda goes down, and this now looks really bad for Yumiko all of a sudden with all these mortar teams in the back. Unfortunately, Yumiko's sneak attack did not work at eliminating those mortar teams, and Yumiko is going to be forced to run back and retreat from this fight. And we're just seeing rocket after rocket, a barrage of rockets coming in from those mortar teams right there, and they're going to do so much damage, and they're going to force Yumiko to back away, and Yumiko's going to have to give up his expansion, even though he doesn't want to. And without that expansion, and without the fact that he can't really take a fight anymore, and he can't really win the base race, there's really not a lot of options that Yumiko has right now at all. Maybe he could invisibility his entire army and you know, bring them all up right here on top of these mortar teams. But those mortar teams, they're going to work as a great counter actually to pretty much everything that Yumiko has. I mean, the expansion goes down right there. You're going to see him maybe going to the tavern to try to tavern revive the Panda. Indeed, that's what he's going to do. He's like, I don't have enough time. He's like, and I know it's not going to survive. The altar is not going to live long enough for me to actually get that Panda back out. He's like, so I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to revive it from the tavern and then come over here and try to maybe take a fight. Of course, you can see these peasants are going to go down. I'm not really sure why he would send them back out. Of course, they were probably just on long distance mining mode at that point, and he did micro them. Of course, now we can see that the keep right here has actually taken a lot of damage as well, and there's still 1,000 gold left in that. So if that goes down, that's going to be bad. Of course, we're going to see him start trying to finally repair that. Of course, he has no levels of masonry upgrades, and does he still have any upgrades on his units yet? None yet. Of course, we're going to see an invisibility cast on that Panda. Try to get him back up here. He needs to get those mortar teams taken out. And of course, it's a very dangerous position for that Panda. I think maybe he could have cast an invisibility to save it earlier. If he could keep it alive, it'd be great. But he's trying to keep him away. Here comes the Panda. Here comes the Breath of Fire, the Haze Fire, and the Blizzard. Try to take out these mortar teams. Gonna have one of them getting Holy Light, one of them getting staffed out, and somehow those mortar teams are gonna be able to live. Pretty much all of them except one. Yeah, Panda goes down one more time. This looks bad for Yumiko. Yumiko's gonna have to call a good game, it looks like, because yeah, a good game is called. There's just no way he could deal with that. Really well done by HawK. Really patient play, HawK, saying, you know what, I know what you're doing. He's like, but I also know that if I can take it just a little bit longer, if I can last just a little bit longer, my tech will avail. And that's what ended up happening. So congratulations to HawK. Deserve the win. Now that was game 4. So if you'd like to watch game 3, click right here. And if you'd like to watch the 5th and final game, click right here, and you can find out who wins the series, who wins the 2,500 ruble. You know, the 20. I mean, that's, I wouldn't lie. I would take 2,500 ruble if I was given it. I'd be like, yeah, that's great. That's like, that's more RAM for my new computer. More RAM sounds great. So I could use more RAM. I only got 8 gigs. I need like 32. So that's what my aim is, at any rate. So I'd totally be like, yeah, 2,500 ruble. It's a big deal. It's RAM or whatever else, you know, you spend it on